So why don't you tell me who you are and what you're about?
Okay, my name is Bryan Pu-Folkes, and I live and work in Jackson Heights. I love this neighborhood. I think it's one of the best neighborhoods in the entire world. I'm an attorney. I'm an immigration lawyer in the neighborhood. And I also publish a local paper called the Community Journal. And it's a new paper, and what we hope to do is have a paper that reflects the incredible diversity of Jackson Heights, the most diverse neighborhood in the entire planet.
It is the most diverse neighborhood. You have all kinds of communities here, and I see that your journal is published in both Spanish and English. It's a mix.
Community Journal.
Right.
Now, when we talk about diversity, this is a neighborhood that's actually studied by urban planners because they realize that the world will one day look like Jackson Heights. The world is getting smaller as more people travel, and as we have more communications, the ability for people to mix and mingle is becoming greater and greater, and Jackson Heights is the greatest example of that. We have a neighborhood with over 130 languages and dialects spoken, and so this paper is fully bilingual in Spanish and English. But to be truly reflective, we talk about issues that we think that everyone in the community can be interested in, and that's what the paper tries to do. Really talk about the issues that affect all of us.
I gather that since there are 130 languages, that Spanish is probably the Spanish community here is might be from different countries, but it's somewhat larger than. What are the other communities that are like the Spanish community, like there's a large membership in?
Well, we have a very large Latino community from Ecuador, Colombia, Mexico, Peru, Dominican Republic, and many other countries. We also have a very large South Asian community. We have Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Indian. We have Sri Lankan, Burmese, Indonesian. We have a large European community from, an older community from Ireland. We have an older German community, a growing Polish community, and in certain parts of the area
When you say growing Polish, you mean that now there are a lot of immigrants from Poland arriving today?
Polish new immigrants coming in, yeah. So it's really a very dynamic and energetic community. We love it, and we think that we attract the best and brightest from all over the world, which is what makes Jackson Heights so wonderful, which makes New York and the United States so wonderful, but this area in particular.
Right, I've always said that people that immigrate are usually the entrepreneurial, the people that are really aggressive, who really want to do something with their lives. People don't immigrate and leave familiar territory of their homeland unless they really are very ambitious and very industrious. I've always said, I'm giving my own opinions here, is the hope of this country. It really lies with the immigrants because they're going to be the only ones that pay the income tax, the Social Security taxes, 15 years from now when I'm still collecting, I hope.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Back in the 1970s, Jackson Heights was a neighborhood, like much of the city and much of parts of urban centers around the country, in decline. We had a very high vacancy rate in the housing, and it really was in large part a lot of new immigrants who came in to help revitalize our town. And so I really agree with what you just said, that it really is some of the most enterprising, industrious, ambitious, hard workers that come in, that have the courage, the insight, and the creativity to say, you know what, it's not easy to come from your home land and start in a new place. And it's those immigrants that really help us and that we're thankful for. And immigrants, they take all shapes and colors from generation to generation.
Well, one question I have is that we hear a lot about Mexican immigrants. They seem to be particularly targeted by the anti-immigration people. What are the other immigrants that are targeted by anti-immigration groups?
Well, I think you're absolutely right, but I would say that people probably look at immigrants as a group, and they don't look at it very finely as one country versus another country. They're kind of put, and that's the big trouble with discrimination, is that you take maybe an individual that you may not like, and you broad brush an entire community. And there's really a lot of distinction within immigrant communities. You have people who are green card holders, people who have all different kinds of visas, people who've come in without inspection. You have a lot of also mixed status families. So when we talk about immigrants, we're talking about really a large number of people with many fine distinctions between that group.
I know. I read about they sent people back to Mexico, but their kids are American citizens, or maybe the mother's an American citizen and the kids, but the father isn't. And you get these awful things that go on in immigration, and I don't think many people are really aware of because they don't know immigrants as people.
That's right. And you know what, though? You see the same thing, though. Whether we're talking about homophobia, whether we're talking about racism, whether we're talking about sexism, whether we're talking about hurting workers or hurting employers. We tend to broad brush, communities without really analyzing more finely. And I think that if we got to know each other as human beings, we would be able to understand that we as a people have much more in common, and we'd be able to come together for solutions that work for the most of us. So I'm glad we're having this conversation. I wish more people would be able to analyze it more distinctly so that we wouldn't broad brush people.
That broad brushing people even means that people that are second generation whose parents are legal immigrants, they encounter discrimination or suspicion. Oh, you look different. You look of a different ethnic group. You must be one of those illegal immigrants. I don't know if I want to hire you or not.
Absolutely. So a lot of people get caught up in this whole thing. On the reverse, it happens the other way too. For example, I was born in Brooklyn, in the United States, and growing up,
you don't look like you were born in Brooklyn.
Well, there you
Let
go.
me play the devil's advocate.
Right, that's right. And people say, I can't believe you speak English so well. Well, I hope I do because I was born here. And so you get a lot of people who make assumptions, and those assumptions are based on antiquated views.
Well, tell me about this publication, how often it comes out, how you distribute it, and what the response has been.
This is the solution to discrimination in the world. No, I'm kidding. This is a local paper with some high ideals and ambitions, which is really trying to get people to realize that even though we have incredible diversity in the community, that we can all find some common interest excuse me, in this paper. We publish right now 10,000 papers every 2 months, and I have a number of volunteers that help me distribute the paper all over Jackson Heights and northwestern Queens. And over time, we're hoping that we will grow and maybe publish a paper every month, and then maybe in the future every week.
How about putting it on the internet so every immigrant everywhere in the United States or elsewhere could read your articles?
Okay, if anyone is watching this, if this makes it onto YouTube or a video, please contact us at communityjournal@gmail.com. communityjournal@gmail.com, and we could use some help. If you're a person with you're web savvy or you're tech savvy, we could definitely use some help. Or you like to write, or you like to volunteer, or you like to fight for social justice and human rights, we can use your help.
Okay, so all you people that have open minds and know immigrants personally like I do, this is a place to sign in, contact this man, and all you techies can do something really constructive with your free time by spreading the word of the Community Journal beyond the most diverse community in the world, Jackson Heights, New York, to the entire United States and the entire planet.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that support. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Listen to what he said. I'm serious.
I should play devil's advocate more, but I don't have the time.